G'day, it's Alex Moss here from Tactical Arbitrage. I wanted to show you this new feature, the library search. This is a phrase term coined by my wife. She thought the library search was a good name for this page, and I didn't disagree with her. Originally it had more of a books name, like the book exchange, but it soon became apparent we can use this feature for more than just books, and that's going to become more apparent with future updates. As of right now, there's no reason you can't use it with video games, for instance. So the way that it works, and let's focus on the books side of things for now, is up the top here you'll have some familiar things. Use bulk categories. A little variation on there is you can kind of make this a multi-bulk, and in that column D at the moment you can select Amazon or Barnes & Noble in this case. We are adding more sites, and that will expand what you can put in this column D for a bulk category. I'm getting some notifications on my phone that I will choose to ignore while I do this. Bulk product codes, instead of UPC and ASIN, we have ISBN and ASIN, and you can import a list of ASINs or a list of ISBNs. And once again, this is in the format that will work with Storefront Stalker if you're a user of that. So Storefront Stalker will put the ASINs in the column B in the export, and it will import here using the upload button, and so you can utilize that. If you, however, have Storefront Stalker and you put your invoice number into the settings, then you can also unlock this feature, which is Scan Best Sellers. And we have here books and the different types of books, and of course you've got your subcategories as well. If you select cookbooks, for instance, then you may come down to see desserts, and then we've got confectionery. Reference books are also really good to scan with this. What we also have down here is the select website to explore. Now, one of them is Amazon. We had to have Amazon in there because book flips are fantastic with Amazon, but as a proof of concept, we also have Barnes & Noble in there. I find Barnes & Noble a little slow to scan, but it's very much heavily to do with the nature of how Barnes & Noble allowed us to extract the data that we need to work with Tactical Arbitrage. So the limitations are kind of there. The more sites we add, they will all have variable speeds, and some will work lightning fast, as many of the product search sites do, and others will take a little longer, like this Barnes & Noble. The main thing is that it works, and we can extract used and new type prices from places like Barnes & Noble, and therefore see whether or not there's any profit when you sell those as an FBA seller. Okay, sorry if I'm talking fast, there's a lot to cover and people don't like really long videos, they kind of tune out, so I'm going to keep going. So let's focus on Amazon for now. Now you will see here that there's a couple of different types of examples that you can use, and I'll see if I can find an example. I've got another window, a library search window open here, so I'll just found this books, arts and photography, architecture, history. So I will grab this one and I will put that into here, and we'll just do a couple of pages. And now I'm going to run this with no filters because I want you to see the results and see what kind of results we're getting, and why those results are there, and how it is working in the view library page. So I will click also include new books, and I'm going to tick this box as well that I like. It's remove the used book if the MF or FBA used buy box is higher in price than the new Amazon buy box. So what that means is that if Amazon's selling the book for $15.95, and they usually are, and it looks like it's in stock kind of thing, then we're probably not going to be interested if the used buy box holder is sitting at $30. You know, you'll see that great return on investment, but realistically people are going to buy the new book. So I put that in there so that we could remove those. I've been told by some booksellers that they like to see the data anyway, so that they can decide whether or not maybe Amazon goes out of stock of the new book enough to warrant analyzing that particular data, but at any rate, I'll tick those two. The rest of them I'll leave fairly blank. I'm going to come back after running a scan and tell you about this filter and this filter. These are an exciting couple of filters related to virtual books. Most of the things here you'll be familiar with. Remove ranks over a certain amount, remove products more than number of buy box eligible sellers. Now when it comes to books, you can actually remove certain years, so you can just have a look at books that were released, published between 2000 and 2016, for instance. Everything else is kind of the same. You've got your prep prices to ship into Amazon, the book, and I'll come back and I'll tell you about this trade-in filter as well. So they're the three filters I'm going to circle back to, but for now I'm just going to run this. Run this scan, and it will start to do its thing. And now, because I've ticked the new book checkbox as well, then for every book that it shows here, it's going to grab both the used and the new book in the same grab. So you can see there, product 1, used and new, and because I've got very few filters in here, we are adding most of them. This here is an instance skipped. The used price is higher than the new price, so that one's been discarded, and we will be able to go over and see what's happening over on the View the Library page. And I can see where there's a used book and a new book, and this one, it's removed the used book. Now how can I see that? Okay, so new is marked on the side here in source condition, and the used books are marked here. Now the used books are either going to be green or red. Now if it's green, it means that the buy condition is listed as good or better than the current FBA, than the current buy box holder for that used book. So in this instance they match. Now if we come down a little further here, you'll see that they don't match. The buy price, the buy book that is available is an acceptable quality, but the buy box holder is a like new quality. So in a lot of circumstances, this acceptable quality book won't be suitable to then sell as a like new book, and so therefore there might be a pricing consideration or a buying consideration that you want to take into account. It's a guide just to help you know what's going on. So do we have any obvious things here that may be a worthwhile purchase? Now I haven't spent a lot of time analyzing this, and I certainly haven't run this scan before. I kind of tend to go off the cuff when I do these videos, but as I scroll down here, some things grab my attention, even just on this one page of this 15,000 result page category. I'm just doing like a single page scan or a couple of page scan, and I can see straight away, see this 35% here interests me. So I can buy this book for $47.45. Now Amazon is selling it for $80.80. So that's a new book. So I might want to consider buying that for the $47.45 and listing that below Amazon's price, and hoping that somebody will pick that up off me for, the $75 mark, and there would be profit in that. Let's see if we can do any better than that. I haven't given myself a lot of room to move with just a couple of pages. What's this one here? So this is interesting. Now it may not be suitable for us because it's an acceptable quality book, and the buy box holder is a very good quality book. But the acceptable buy price is $17.27. The buy box is $35.77, and after fees it's $25.90. So what we're saying here is a 50% profit, $8.63. Now there is this is where you want to start drilling into these a little bit. So if I click on this, it's going to open the used offers page because it is a used book. If I click on this one, which says new, it's going to open the new one. So let's have a look over at this used one. Now this is the book in question, the $13.69 plus the $3.99 shipping. And that's where we're getting the, where is this item? There we go, $17.27, $17.27. Okay, because I've got a one-day cache on that price has changed slightly in the last, yeah, I can see that it has changed slightly since somebody scanned it last. So that's fine. That's why that pricing anomaly is slightly different to what's over there. Now, $35.77 claims to be the current seller. Let's have a look at the prime sellers only. So that $35.77 used book appears to have sold. Now that's good, isn't it? Because if that has sold, let me just see. Yeah, it was an FBA seller. So the prime seller there, the $35.77 prime seller, has sold since. I mean, I probably should have run a live scan so you could get the exact live data on that. But that's very interesting. So that means $79.99 is the current buy box on that. Yeah, by use $79.99, and now I would go as far as saying that there is room for profit there. Buying that at $17.27 and shipping that in anywhere below that $79 price. I mean, the buy box for new is $193. So if you can get an acceptable quality for $17.27, and I'll see, I'll have another look here at if you can get a slightly better quality than acceptable. So used good, used very good for about $26. This guy's got 100%. So you can start playing around with it there. So for $26, we might be interested in shipping that in, and as long as we're better than that $79 price. Now, if we continue down here, we can also, of course, sort by gross return on investment, and you can see that that book is a standout book. I'll also have a look at understanding architecture. I think we did look at that one already. I'll also have a look at this one here, Alvar Aalto Architect, Volume 5. It's a fairly obscure sounding book, but brand new price $66. Current buy box is $103.95 with a FBA calculator price of $83. I mean, $20 profit, even, I mean, 30% ROI, but $20 profit is not to be sneezed at. Especially, you know, when you consider how many of these books are appearing on just a couple of pages. $20 here, $20 there, $20 here, $20 there, and pretty soon you're generating a decent income with a pile of books. Now, I said I would circle back to the filters on this page, and so there's a couple that I want to show you in particular. So one is trade in profit. Now, trade in price and trade in profit. So the way that it works is Amazon has a system that if you send in a used book, and as long as it meets a certain set of guidelines, it can't be necessarily scribbled all over or torn pages, and if you tick the box to say that it fills the brief, then you will get a trade-in price, and Amazon will send you the envelope and pay the shipping. Some of the trade-in prices are quite good. And what can happen is you can get quite lucky. Like the trade-in price on this book, for instance, is $71.25. Now, this is just an example, but were there, for example, be a buy price of say $40 because somebody's selling one of those cheap, then that would have triggered here that there was $35 trade-in profit on shipping that book in to Amazon and getting the trade-in price. Now, Amazon gives you the trade-in price in vouchers to spend on Amazon. So then you would possibly roll that over and maybe use that for Amazon flips, buying stuff to flip on Amazon, possibly even to buy more books. So I'm not totally adverse to the idea of this this trade-in scenario, because it's as good as money if you're spending money at Amazon anyway. So this column is trade-in profit. This is trade-in return on investment, and just on 2 pages I wouldn't expect to see very much, because these will come up more rarely and there isn't anything there. However, the way we've got it working is alongside only keep data if gross profit is at least a certain number of dollars or a certain percentage return on investment. We also say, even if those two don't give you any results that you're interested in, let's please just also keep the data if the trade-in return on investment is at least a certain percent. So if there's 20% trade-in in there, then maybe keep that as well. If you put 20% there, then it'll keep it if anything's at least a 20% return on investment for a trade-in item. Let me delete this data. I'll run the same scan again, and I don't know for sure that I'm going to see these particular items get triggered, but I'm going to check again. Another 2-page scan. Same filters, but this time I'm going to tick these two as well, and I'll at the very least explain them even if they don't show up any results. So this saying, for new books, if the buy box holder is not Amazon or an FBA seller, then show a virtual return on investment between the MF buy price and the list price. So that means Amazon's not holding the buy box, okay? And it's not saying who is holding the buy box. There may be some FBA sellers out there, but Amazon doesn't really like to give them the buy box anyway. Pretty much, if it's a new book and Amazon hasn't got the buy box, then pretty much nobody's got the buy box. I could even go as far as saying I could remove part of this sentence to saying, if the buy box holder is not Amazon, then show a virtual return on investment between the MF buy price and the list price. So the list price for a book may be normally $129.95, right? And Amazon's not got any in stock, so we've got no point of reference aside from that list price of $129.95 to see whether it's even worth buying that MF sold book. So there might be an MF sold book there for $11 and Amazon's not selling the book at all. So what we do is we create a virtual book. Now the virtual book kind of just fills in the view library page, and it sits there and tells you, well, hang on a minute, this virtual book, which is just the list price, and the list price is $129.95 versus that buy price, here's your return on investment and whatnot based on that. From that, you can make an educated guess as to whether or not that's a book that you're now interested in buying, because you're using the list price as reference and creating what we call a virtual book. So I'll tick that and put that in there. Now we do something similar for used books, although it's a little trickier for used books. So for used books, if the buy box holder of the used book is not an FBA seller, then show a virtual return on investment using a virtual book between the MF buy price, and what we do then is we look at the new Amazon buy box price. So let's say Amazon has got the book there for $129.95. What we'll do is we'll say, what do you think that people would be prepared to pay for a used book so that they don't have to pay that full new price? So what we can do is we can say, I'm going to make this 30% less. So now let's have a look at comparing the MF used book price versus an arbitrary price, which is essentially 30% less than what Amazon's currently selling it for as new. Okay, so using those two figures, we create the virtual books and therefore give you return on investments that you might want to analyze and make a decision to go and buy that book as well. So hopefully you followed all that. I'll click submit again. I won't fill out any other filters, and we'll just see if these ones get triggered just out of interest. I used cache. Select Amazon there. You'd think I know how to operate my own software. And we go submit. Now, being that I used cache, it should flick through them fairly quickly. And let's see whether or not any of those were virtual books. It's going to prove me wrong and not give me any virtual books. Okay, no virtual books. All right. Before I discard the scan, I will use one of these because I know one of these page examples does have some virtual books on there. So I'm going to go page 1 to 2, use the last filter settings, click submit. And go back to view the library. So I've just skipped ahead a little bit to save some time searching for these virtual books, and as you can see, this one is a like new. Now there was only an MF seller, so it's created a virtual book to indicate that there would be the like new book being sent in. It's green as well because it would be the same book, and there's nothing else to use as a point of reference. It says fulfillment by Amazon VB for virtual book, and the price that it has created is the new price less the percentage, and then the calculations are done accordingly. Now we mark them in red because it's virtual book pricing, so it's not necessarily 100% accurate, and it just gives you an indication. So every time you see that red there, you know that there's a virtual book sitting right beside it, and we can look for deals amongst the virtual books, and there's a few appearing there. Do I have any new virtual books there? No, they're all used, but the new ones will show up as well alongside. So that is the library search feature. The last thing I should show you is that this is also working for Barnes & Noble. There will be many books, book companies. Barnes & Noble forgive me, Barnes & Noble is reasonably relaxed pace. I mean, there were 4 seconds between books there, and that's not too bad, 4 seconds between books, but you know, it depends. Sometimes it can be a little slower, sometimes better. Straight away we've got a virtual book, and there's nothing in those items there for profit, but Barnes & Noble will continue to add books. Here's one that does have profit, although it's an acceptable versus a good, and you'll start to get a little bit of a rhythm going where you decide what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And of course, you won't normally see all of these items with all the negative ROIs because you'll have gone through in here and said only keep the data if the gross return on investment is at least a certain amount, like 20% or higher, for instance. And that's going to filter through and just show you the ones like this, which is Barnes & Noble Healthcare Finance book. We have that nice ISBN match in there, and it's a new to a new. Tells you that there is $24 profit in it after calculation, and so on. And so, wow, see, that's a really interesting one there. This one here is new book, selling for new, $60.48, selling for $257.33. There might be, I mean, we'd need to drill into this further, but there could be as much as $150 in this one book alone. So that's the Amazon seller. I'm interested. I want to quickly have a look before we wrap this video up. Does this particular oh, my wife's going out. does this particular $257.33 have another bunch of FBA sellers trying to sell it as well? No, it's just Amazon. So that is really interesting. In fact, it turns out I can also get this book brand new from a FBA seller as well for $65 and then ship that into FBA. I mean, there is just money all over the place with this feature, and I hope you can see that. One thing is we have put with Barnes & Noble, if it's the third-party seller, we've added the $3.99 shipping because it seems to be that it's $3.99 shipping. So if it says $6.35 here, if I go into that, I mean, it's probably only $2.36 it's selling for. And it says there, marketplace from $2.36. And if I add it to the cart, it's going to hit me with a $3.99 charge. And so we just sort of tack that in there as well so that the price is accurate when it comes to do the calculations. Okay, so that is everything for now on the library search. And keep an eye out for more tutorials and webinars we'll be having on this feature in the very near future. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it makes you a lot of money. And I hope you realize that you can run the library search at the same time as the reverse search, at the same time as Amazon Flips, at the same time as the product search, and of course, everyone forgets about it, but little old product variation, you can run that at the same time too. So lots of opportunity to make money with tactical arbitrage. Get on in there. We've got plenty of advancements coming to the books feature as well. This is version 1.0. It is going to get exciting from here. Cheers. See you later, guys.